Welcome to the Personal Podcast. I'm your host, Charlotte Nichols from Harvey and Hugo, and I'm really excited that today we're going to be getting to know the real Andy Preston. Andy is a political commentator, broadcaster and writer, ex-mayor, founder of charities, and also a private investor. And I'm sure there's many more things as well.
Loads more.
We don't have time for them all though, Andy. Okay, Andy, is life supposed to be easy?
If you want an easy life, I think you have to make sure that you're never doing anything interesting and you don't have any ambitions. I think life can be relatively easy, but the more ambitious you are, the more you want to do, the more good you want to do, the more you want to achieve, the harder it is. So I don't think it's meant to be easy for restless, ambitious people.
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it.
You can't have it both ways.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree. What kind of first taught you to see life this way?
I don't know. I think that, so my parents were quite, not pushy, but they were people who wanted us to achieve and do stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether they were good at instilling that or not, but that was definitely there. And I think that I've got that with my sons and I've pushed them. And I think sometimes they hate me for it. But I think as they're getting older, they can see that I want them to do well, whatever they want to. I don't care if they want to be a missionary, a priest, a venture capitalist, a cage fighter. I don't care what they want to do. So long as they really go for it, it's going to make them happy. And they do everything that they possibly can to be the best that they can. And I think that's so important. And I think the way I was brought up was to work hard and do well.
Yeah, definitely. I think a strong work ethic's always important. But, I don't know, sometimes that's seen as negative these days.
Yeah.
I
think there's so this whole thing of work-life balance, it drives me mad. Not because people shouldn't have a nice life and do great things. Of course they should. You should have a holiday and go skiing and put your phone down and close the laptop. Of course you should. But I think it's usually used as an excuse by those who don't really want to do much.
I see. Mm-hmm.
And nobody wants to do loads of work, but if you want to achieve, you have to do lots of work. There are no shortcuts.
Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think the people that moan about work-life balance, what they really mean is, I want to do less work for the same money. And I don't think that's possible.
Yeah. And in terms of we've talked about bringing up your children, it is a fine line, isn't it? Because, I've got really young children and I don't want to be that pushy mother. And I don't think I am, but I equally want to encourage ambition and instill a strong work ethic.
It's so hard.
It is really hard.
The easiest thing in the world with kids and employees is to be their friend. That is the easiest thing in the world. And they love you because you give them everything they want. But it absolutely does not create great employees. It doesn't help their career. It doesn't grow the business. It doesn't help kids. And it's a chicken's coward's way out. And I didn't always do the right thing. Sometimes I would chicken out, think, you know what, just for an easy life, I'm going to go along with that. All the other kids are getting phones. You can have a phone. All the things lots of things I regret. But you go along with it for the sake of peace, harmony, and you don't want your kids to see you as just this dictatorial person who's always blocking their fun. Mm-hmm. So it's very difficult, isn't it? It's very difficult to get it right.
Absolutely.
I definitely didn't.
Yeah, and I think kind of what you were alluding to just then is that it takes courage sometimes to be disliked.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And I don't know if there's enough of that these days.
There's not enough of that. And do you know what? Politics is full of that. And the reason we're in a mess and the reason that the Greens are booming and the reason that Reform and now Restore are coming, the reason they're booming is that they are willing to say uncomfortable things. They're willing to say things that frustrate others.
Okay.
The parties what used to happen in British politics is each party, Labour and the Conservatives, they would appeal to the middle ground, which meant they would say things that were slightly interesting to their fan base, but didn't put many people off.
Okay.
That doesn't work anymore. Mm-hmm. You have to pick your audience and be willing to upset the people who aren't in your audience.
Absolutely.
So politics has been shaken, business has been shaken, the world's been shaken, and there aren't enough people saying what they believe in, and there aren't enough people on a moral mission. We're changing the subject now. What were we talking about?
We're changing the subject, but I think it's an important point. And, whether you love him or loathe him, Trump has been very good tactically at doing those things that you've said, picking his audience, having the courage to be disliked amongst the people who aren't his audience. And again, like talking like a human in human language.
Yeah, I find it, I really struggle to not say a million very damning things about Donald Trump, but I think you're right in that respect, in that he knows his audience and he appeals to his audience. And they've got a two-party system. It's incredibly harshly divided. There isn't much middle ground in the States to win over. So he plays to his audience, and he's done that well. And that's the way politics is now.
Okay, so back to ambition. What is the biggest ambition you've ever had, and is it related to politics?
I do not know. Do you know what? I'm not someone who's ever had a life plan written down on a piece of paper. Yeah. I've never had that. I've never had I need to do this and I need to achieve that. Actually, I did want to set some financial goals.
Okay.
That I wanted to have X amount of money by a certain age.
Did you achieve them?
Yes.
Brilliant.
But what's next for me? I don't know. And I don't know. I've lost the question, actually.
It was, what's the biggest...
It must have been a good question because you got me talking about something else.
Yeah, the biggest ambition you've ever had.
So the biggest ambition I've ever had, I've no idea. What I do remember is that I definitely haven't had fixed goals written down where it's life or death. I want to be a speedway rider or the best lawyer in the country. I never had that.
Okay.
But I always wanted to make some money. Yeah. And when I was a young man, the ways to make money, the exciting careers were like going to financial markets trading. It was really about that. This was like the late 80s, the whole yuppie thing.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to do that. And it wasn't life or death. It had to be that. But that was something that I was really drawn to. So that was an ambition, but it wasn't the only thing that I was willing to do. It wasn't the only thing that was going to define me. But that was something I really wanted to do.
Yeah. And we'll talk more about that in a bit because I think that's really interesting. I'm also intrigued to hear. So you wrote down some financial goals. You achieved them. How did you feel when you achieved them?
Yeah, I never feel great. Sometimes, so I've moved, but I used to live in this really, really big house with a drive, quarter mile long and all that, big gates and everything. And most people, when they came, they would say to me, wow, how does it feel when you drive up here? And I'm like, it doesn't feel anything. I'm never satisfied. I am never smug. I never feel great that I never feel I've achieved anything.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just not in my DNA. I never feel that I've done really well. I never feel that I'm doing really well. I get excited about stuff that I'm trying to do.
Okay.
But I never feel satisfied or smug. It's just not in my nature.
So it's more about the journey.
Yeah, I like to make stuff happen. And making stuff happen is the most exciting, rewarding thing. Achieving things is, for me, it's...
Yeah, there's no joy in that.
Once I'm there, once I've done the hard work is making it happen, right? The last bit is boring, right? Once you know it's happening, it's all in place. Other people come in and make it happen. They can take the glory. They can kick the ball in the net once you've teed it up. And I'm not really interested in that. I like making it happen. I like building the team. I like coming up with the ideas. I like going against the flow. I like winning support to deliver something, and then I'll walk away. Once the goal's about to be scored, I'll walk away and let them do it.
You do hear that a lot, don't you? Successful people, they achieve their goal. They're like, right, what next? Have you developed kind of almost a coping mechanism, knowing that's how you'll feel and you're already onto the next project?
It's, you know what, Charlotte, it's not conscious. I'm just doing stuff.
Yeah.
I just know that once it's clear it's working and it's going to work out, I just start thinking about other things.
Yeah.
The fight goes. It's the fight that's exciting. I think. The struggle.
Yeah, the struggle.
It's horrible. I don't
crazy.
enjoy it, by the way. But it's exciting. It's satisfying in a way. It's stimulating.
Yeah. So how do you manage to find joy? You're so ambitious. You're so driven. You're on to the next project constantly. When you achieve your goals, it's like you feel numb almost. How do you find joy in life?
Well, some people would say that I don't find any joy.
Okay.
I don't know if it's true, but I do. I get moments of joy, right? So I'm not one of these people who wanders around like, isn't this great? Life's great. That's just not me.
Okay.
But sometimes something might catch me, and I'm usually on my own, and I'm like, actually, this is great. And I just reflect for a while. But that's fleeting. I've usually got a million ideas in my head.
Yes.
And so I don't find joy. Things give me pleasure. I love tennis. I love to play tennis with my friends, and that's like the highlight of my week. I just adore it. I love the competition. I love the fun. I love the fear of losing.
Okay.
And when I lose, I'm disappointed, but I'm still thrilled to have tried. I love tennis. I love sport. I really love sport.
I love sport too. Yeah, it gives you something that a lot of other activities just can't. Yeah. So that's interesting. Do you think it's a fear of failure that almost drives you in business? Or are you striving towards success?
Yeah, I think that all of the things that I have done, they've been like about me making it happen.
Okay.
It's rarely been me slotting in as part of a much bigger team.
Okay.
It's usually about my neck on the line.
Right. Okay.
So it's absolutely terrifying.
Yes.
Because it's a very public failing. I don't mind failing, by the way. It's not the end of the world, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
And if I fail, I want people to see that it was a noble ambition and a great effort, and it nearly worked. So I'll do everything that I can.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, with charities, for example, CEO Sleep Out, and that's going just fine. That was really hard. It was so hard. It was so hard. And I had to go around trying to work out, we want to do an event in Cardiff. Do I know anyone in Cardiff? No. Do I know anyone who might know someone in Cardiff? So I'm contacting people that now live in Hong Kong and say, do I remember you saying you had a brother in Cardiff? Yeah, he's there. All right, what's his name? Can I contact him? So I'd contact this guy. And I remember, for example, he assembled this bunch of people down in Cardiff. And the only time they would meet me was on a Sunday night at this Travelodge or some little hotel. So I'd set off at lunchtime, drove all the way down to Cardiff, met with these strangers for like 2 hours to persuade them to help me make a CEO Sleep Out event happen there. And it was that is one example of like 1,000 things I had to do to make CEO Sleep Out work, to get the business model, to get it going, to win support, to create the brand and make it success. And it was really hard. It was really hard. And sure, driving to Cardiff is not the hardest thing in the world. But on a Sunday night when you've got a million other things to do, to meet to go meet strangers, not knowing whether they were going to waste my time. It's things like that I'll do that others won't.
Yes. And people underestimate the effort needed to start momentum. Once the momentum's going, it all looks easy. But it's that starting it behind the scenes.
Yeah, totally.
So would you say you're happy?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I should say yes, because everybody wants to, oh, you're happy, that's great. But
it makes a better podcast.
I don't think I've ever been happy, and I suspect I never will be.
Okay.
Am I a deeply unhappy person? No. But I think happy people are satisfied. I think happy is like being satisfied. I think.
That's interesting. I'm just thinking in my own head, I'm relatively happy and I'm relatively satisfied, I guess. I guess, that's general. There's certain areas of my life, children I'm so happy with, other areas,
But you not worry. I was like full of worry and stress and like, from like that high, and like, I'd be thinking, oh my goodness, all his friends can sit upright at however many weeks. What stage did we do it? I can't remember what stage it is. It's like, oh my God, he's 2 weeks behind so-and-so. That's a problem. Is there a problem? I'm a worrier.
Yeah, and, I don't think the state of today and social media, which we're going to come on to next, actually is great for that comparison thing. And comparison is the thief of joy. Yeah.
It is absolutely. It's the root of feeling awful about yourself because everybody lives this gorgeous life where they're popular and affluent and they're laughing all the time and drinking champagne on private jets. And of course they're not, but that's the impression you have, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I watched the Louis Theroux documentary on the Manosphere at the weekend. And they're all exactly like you said, on yachts, making millions. Yeah, it's.
I mean, I haven't seen it, but what the interesting about that broadcast, which I have read a lot about, and that whole phenomenon, people think that these guys hate women and think that these guys have an ideological agenda. I don't think they do. They're con men.
They're working the system.
They're con men. And what they realize is that they can make money. There is an audience if they say this and they say that. Andrew Tate, I've no idea what he thinks about things, and nor does anybody else. He's a con man. He's trying to con people, and his audience for conning is young men.
Yeah, the modern day con man. It's, TikTok's the
con men,
platform.
Con women, I guess, as well, but to a lesser extent. They've always been around, and the current one that is the easiest way to con people is to do this. It used to be cures for boldness, cures for infertility, eternal life.
Yes.
They've always been around.
Yeah.
They've always been around.
No, it's very true. And you're very visible on social media. I think a lot of people think that you share everything, but actually you've told me that you're actually quite private. How do you decide what to share and what not to share?
I'm very private. And some people think I'm not, but I am very private. And I guess I share stuff that I think is interesting, some things that people might like to see. I share things that might stir debate, discussion.
You certainly do.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. You know what? If you don't stir discussion, if you don't piss some people off, then you're not saying anything interesting. Anything interesting is going to have an audience that likes it and an audience that doesn't like it. Otherwise, it's not interesting. And that's what we were saying about politics, that going to the middle. They'd never said anything, and they're still not. I won't go into detail, but so on social media, I curate what I put on. I don't put on anything that's I hope I don't put on anything that's boastful. I don't put on anything that tries to make me look sad, like I'm looking for sympathy. I can't bear that. If people feel sad and they want sympathy, they should contact someone. There are ways to do it. But putting these posts out that are pleading for sympathy, I think it's a really bad thing. I think it's bad for the person who does it. It's bad for those around them. And I think it brings everybody down. And I think there are much better ways to try and get help.
I mean, I'm thinking when you're saying that, I'm thinking about my podcast, but I guess, some people want to share how they're feeling if it can help others as well. They're not necessarily looking for sympathy, but yeah.
I think that's fair. I think that's very fair. And there's a fine line, isn't there? But some people absolutely revel in their problems and often they need help and they should get help. But sometimes they are using it as a way of getting attention.
Yes.
And I think that's very damaging to them and to others. And it actually reduces the impact of others who need help, who ask for help.
Yes, absolutely. And one of my main problems with social media and posting, as a business that does it for other businesses as well, is that, so many people are posting to get the engagement, to get the likes, to get the traction, but they don't actually consider the damage it does to your brand, So yes, you could post something that gets you loads of sympathy votes or, virtue signaling. But if that's not true to your authentic brand, that's going to damage your reputation long term.
Totally.
I don't think people consider the longer term.
I think since social media's come out, that's really interesting. Since social media's come out, the whole concept of authenticity has become a real thing, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's true, is that you get much further in the long term if you are authentic, if you follow who you really are, what you really want to achieve. Values is the thing everyone talks about these days. I think it's meaningless, but who you really are, that's so important. Authenticity is so important.
Yeah, totally agree. And you've kind of noted to me that sometimes some of your opinions are out of step and perhaps down the line, people actually come back to you who've argued against you in that moment. Actually, Andy, you were right about that. How do you deal with that?
How do I deal with people coming back and...
Well, both really kind of in that moment, kind of...
So I think as I've got older, believe it or not, I've got a lot better at keeping my mouth shut. When I was young, I would say, no, that's wrong.
Okay.
And now 95% of the time, I just say, oh, really? How interesting. And I just go along with it. But sometimes I think this is like a big issue. I need to say something here. There's real harm being done. So, for example, a controversy at the time seemed controversial when the whole BLM thing happened in the UK. Let's forget how BLM started in the USA, but the whole UK thing that basically said that if you have brown skin, the odds are against you. Society's biased. Lots of people out there hate you and are going to hold you back, and there's a terrible debt to be paid by people who haven't got brown skin. That was so damaging. First of all, because it wasn't true. It categorically wasn't true. And all the statistics showed that it wasn't true. And as well as that, the anecdotal and visual evidence showed that it wasn't true. But beyond that, if you tell people that life is hard, if you tell people that it's going to be much harder for you to succeed, and science will show you this, you are making sure that they don't try as hard, and you are making sure that when they don't do well, perhaps because they weren't the right person for that role or that interview or that test, that they blame it on prejudice. And it creates this horrible, horrible thing that's gone on. And it's happened in society. So it's happened at the time. So with all BLM thing in the UK, and there was a hysteria about it, an absolute hysteria about it. People pushing statues over and doing all sorts of things. And at the time I said, okay, so well, of course, Black Lives Matter and all lives matter. So there was a huge outrage that I dared to say that. And then I went on to say that discrimination does exist in some ways, but it's like in lots of ways. Discrimination against people for age, for disability is the big one. And I said, well, apparently what was the most controversial thing I said that really got people mad was that I said that the biggest barrier to success in life is nothing like the color of your skin. It's how poor you were when you grew up. That is absolutely the biggest single thing that influences whether you get a job, get a good job, are healthy in middle age and later life. Poverty is the biggest barrier to success in life. Now that, believe it or not, that became controversial that I dared challenge things. Now, all of the data shows now that, of course, people with brown skin are more likely to go to university. They do better at school. All kinds of great things happen. So everybody's learned now that the UK isn't this awful racist place. You know, we had the first Hindu prime minister, the first prime minister with brown skin. We had a Chancellor of the Exchequer of African background. Now the leader, the official leader of His Majesty's opposition is African. And do you know what? Nobody cares. And nobody cares because people don't care. Of course, there are one or two nasty people. There are one or two nasty people who probably don't like you for whatever reason. There are people out there with an agenda. But the vast majority of people get on with life. They don't care who you sleep with, what colour your skin is, what your customs are. You just get on with your life. But there was a hysteria in the past where we were led to believe there was such prejudice, and it was so damaging that they did that. It was so damaging, and I couldn't not say anything. And I was right, but at the time there was a bit of kickback from a very noisy minority.
Yeah, I think that people should necessarily respect what people have to say. They don't have to necessarily, well, just listen to what people have to say. They don't necessarily have to believe it because, again, this is the whole free speech debate because I think people are so frightened to say what they genuinely believe because of all the backlash. Do you think we have free speech in the UK?
I think we've become less tolerant of others' opinions. I think it's become okay now on social media to be harsh, get in arguments, be very personal. It's hideous to see, and I think that's moved into the real world as well off social media. I think we do have free speech. I think the people that say we don't are completely wrong, but I think that some people are scared to say what they believe in.
Yes, I'd agree with that. Yeah. Do you ever hold back what you feel is the truth?
Totally. Because I know that, I can't say this. I can probably say it in 6 months once everyone's realised, but I can't say this. So I'm always looking at stuff. What can I say that's going to actually help? It's going to push the argument along. It's going to challenge. These people have got the dangerous opinion. How do I word it in a way that gets them to think about this, that challenges them enough? And getting that right is really tough.
Oh, absolutely,
really tough. And the people it works on, you don't hear from. It's only the people where it threatens their identity, because some people, their cause is their identity. So if you challenge that even slightly, you've challenged their identity. So they lash out, and that's natural.
Yes. No, that makes sense. And have you ever been wrong about anything?
I am wrong most of the time.
Okay.
I don't think I am, actually. I think we're all wrong frequently, aren't we?
Yes.
I think as a rule, it sounds terribly arrogant. Do I dare say this? I think I'm right more than most.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sure everyone does though, don't they?
I think everyone thinks that. But I think my reason for thinking that is I'm naturally a contrarian thinker. So whenever someone says to me, oh, I've found this incredible house to buy and it's great and it's perfect and it's really good price, my mind immediately flips that and I'm looking for the flaws.
Okay.
And some people sometimes think I'm negative. I'm not. It's just my brain looks to try and find the flaws in things. And I think what that does is it means that I don't get carried as easily away on waves of hysteria one way or the other. It means that I'm often challenging, thinking, oh gosh, this feels right, but is it? Let me look at the facts. What do I know? That's my natural inclination.
Yeah.
But I am wrong a lot of the time. But I think that I'm naturally a critical thinker, and I think it stops me from going to extremes either way.
That makes sense. And have you ever had to apologise for anything that you've said that
all
was
the time?
Wrong? Okay.
But you know what? I think I've apologised because people aren't happy.
Okay.
I'm not sure I've ever apologised thinking I was wrong there.
Okay.
I think I've apologised thinking, look, in my personal life, I have apologised to people where I've done wrong. I have. I'm quite a good apologizer, quite good. But in a sort of like political or current affairs arena, when I have apologized, I'm usually saying, I'm really sorry that what I've said upset you.
Okay, I see.
I'm really sorry that I didn't word it as well as I could.
Okay.
I can't think of a case where I've got it completely wrong on an issue, but people will tell me.
But you can't.
Go on.
I was just going to say, you can't necessarily apologize for an opinion that you believe in.
Not if you believe it. If you genuinely believe in it.
Yeah.
I think the issue is that you have to believe in stuff that you're challenging yourself, which brings me back to what I was saying earlier. Is that's my natural state. So I've usually, if I've got a strong opinion on something, it's not because I've just heard it and it's clicked a dopamine button in my brain. It's because it's done that, and then I've kind of challenged it and thought about it and ruminated on it. It could still be wrong, but it's less likely to be wrong. But secondly, it's something that I genuinely have arrived at.
Yeah, so you'd very rarely just announce something on social media off the cuff. You've kind of it's gone round your head a few times. You've thought for and against it.
I think so. I can't think of anything I've said that's been outrageous that's genuinely just been off the cuff.
And have you ever had any threats because of unpopular opinions that you've shared?
Yeah, I have. I've had all kinds of threats. I don't want to go into the details. I know people shouldn't feel sorry for me. But yeah, I've had lots of threats, lots of abuse. We have to, look, if someone threatens you, you have to take it seriously, but you also have to remember that it's probably someone sat on the toilet, in their flat on a cracked iPhone. The sort of person that 100 years ago, 50 years ago would have been the idiot in the pub that just talks rubbish and everyone ignores.
Yes, yeah.
But on social media, you don't know who they are, and it does feel very threatening. So what I'm saying is you have to take it seriously, but it's not the same as someone in real life saying to you and threatening you, which I've pretty much never, ever had. I've had waves of abuse, national media attention for some things that I've said, but I've never had someone come up in the street and abuse me.
Okay.
Never.
Well, that's excellent. Okay, we're going right back to your childhood now. How was your childhood?
How was it? Don't know. I don't think I was like massively happy, but I don't know if that's normal. What I have noticed in people is that when they look back, whether it's the school days or former jobs, they always think it was great. Whereas at the time, they always think it was okay.
Yeah, it's true.
So I think that when I think back, I think I'm quite realistic in that I wouldn't say I was happy. I wouldn't say I was deeply unhappy. I just remember, good days, bad days. I remember feeling that my parents were too strict. Okay. I wanted to have everything that was good that everyone else had, which I pretty much never had. But I wanted those things, right?
Okay.
I wanted to stay up till midnight. I wanted to get a new bike. I wanted to. So I think it was pretty normal. I think that it was healthy. We used to go to church. That was good. I think that's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
I think you mix with people, you listen, you think about stuff, and you're mixing with people of lots of different age groups.
Did you take your children to church?
No, I don't. Yes, sometimes, but not regularly.
Yeah.
And I don't go to church very regularly. I go if I'm away on holiday. There's something about churches when I'm abroad and I've got the time.
Yes.
And I'm quite private with my religion, and I'll do it very privately. I'll go and sit on my own. I might mix with people in the church and talk to them. I might mention it on social media, but I don't go into any detail or depths. I'm private about it.
Okay. Do you think there's a taboo about being religious?
I don't think there is. I think some people actually these days make it their identity.
Yeah.
But it's the private side of me. So when I was on holiday in the summer with the family, we're in the city, and there was the most beautiful, incredible churches. Like, they were just magnificent, really old. And I went in pretty much all of them. I love to go and look around and take photos. And then I asked for a bit of privacy because I wanted to sit down on my own and reflect.
Yes.
And I'm just very bashful about doing it in front of other people.
I understand that.
I don't know. I think deep down I'm quite shy in some ways. And I definitely don't, as we were saying, I don't share 90% of of who I am and what I do.
Yeah. And do you think that's misunderstood about you?
I think that some people have said things in the past that have implied that they think that I'm going for a tuna melt at Costa, or you know what I mean? I'm just, I just don't, or I'm not happy today, or people always let you down, posts like that, men are so cruel, aren't they? All that kind of stuff. I just hate all that. And I don't want people to feel that I'm putting what I had for dinner on there, unless it's something really interesting.
Like, it's controversial.
No. I don't think my stuff is...
No, I think your stuff it's opinionated. And like I say, I like to see that. Whether I believe what you're saying or not, I like to see someone share a strong opinion these days. Yeah,
I believe it or not, I do try to write it in a way that gets people to think, but doesn't cross the line of being disrespectful or hurtful. I always try not to be hurtful. I choose my words incredibly carefully. Every word that I put in, I've really thought about. And sometimes I get it wrong, but it's usually to tread that line between being clear about what's wrong, in my opinion, but without being offensive, like literally or genuinely offensive. Some people are always offended, right?
Yes.
But something that's genuine, without being genuinely offensive.
Yeah. No, I think
to get attention is easy. You just say outrageous stuff. That's easy. And there's whole people built careers on it. And I'm nothing like that. I will say things that half of the people might not agree with at the time, but I don't say outrageous things that cause offense to decent people. I don't think I ever do.
No, I don't think you do either. Like I say, I just like to hear a strong opinion. You must know that when you post certain things, though, you're going to get you've probably got a certain group of followers. And again, you might think, well, why are they following me in the first place, that then to comment negatively?
Yeah. Some people, I think when that happens, what happens, Charlotte, is that some people, as I say, their identity, you've said something that threatens their sense of who they are. Whether they should have their identity tied up in whether they work from home or they believe in this is another matter, but it's part of their identity. And when that's challenged, they lash out, which is part of the getting us onto a really interesting thing. The immigration issue is not about people from abroad or people with a slightly different coloured skin or different customs. It's about where you are from changing really rapidly, because to nearly everybody, where you live and where you grew up is part of who you are.
Yes.
It's central to your identity. And if that changes really rapidly beyond your control, your own identity is changing.
It's a threat.
That's why people lash out and are angry.
Yes.
And that's the truth. And that's why people are deeply uncomfortable with large-scale immigration.
And it's the same about what we do at Harvey and Hugo. It's about brands, and people think, oh, you're going to buy that brand because it's the best, or it's the most useful, it has the best benefits. Whereas it's about identity. You buy a brand because you see that resonating with your identity. You buy a brand because you want people to see that as part of your identity. It's identity is so important.
Yeah.
And often, again, it might be going too deep, but people don't even know their identity really.
Yeah.
Because this fast-paced world we live in, it doesn't allow people the time to really look inward and figure out who they are. So there's a whole debate on identity. And Personal isn't just about business. It's about the human stories behind them. We address all aspects of health, from cancer, gastric bands and meningitis to mental health and the menopause. Nothing is off limits on this show. But as these stories often highlight, you can't take your health for granted. I know I don't, and that's why I trust WPA to protect my health. WPA isn't like any other health insurer. It's not for profit and offers award-winning, tailored health insurance solutions to individuals, families, and businesses of all sizes. Among UK health insurers, it consistently tops consumer surveys and Trustpilot ratings, while its members can manage their membership from pre-authorising claims to accessing remote GP services, all on the WPA Health app. Crucially, they help ensure the access to the very best treatment at a time and place that is convenient to you. I speak with Martin Nichols, one of the 90-plus dedicated WPA healthcare partners across Britain, who provides advice and ongoing support during your journey with WPA. Contact Martin anytime on 07870 513 653 to discuss your requirements. Martin Nichols, appointed representative of WPA Healthcare Practice plc, authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. The healthcare practice is a wholly owned subsidiary of Western Provident Association Limited, WPA. You lost your brother in 2021. That must have affected you massively.
Yeah, it did, and it still does. And it's. I think, I don't want this to be too personal, so I'm going to skirt around it a little bit. But I think that it's a reminder of the fragility of existence.
Yes.
I sound like a scientist, don't I? The transience of life.
Absolutely.
How fragile it is. And I think it's a reminder to have fun, to work hard, be ambitious, and try to do stuff. If you're ambitious to do nothing and spend all day doing something you enjoy, that's great. If you're ambitious to be something, I don't know, the best opera singer, that's going to take 20 years to get there, that's great too. But I think that ambition, that working out what is going to be good for you as a person and what's good for others. And I think that, I think when my brother died, it instills lots of guilt, and it instills lots of regrets, and it definitely instills sadness, and they don't go away, and they don't actually, to me, don't get easier. But they also remind you that you've got a job to do, which is to try and look after yourself, look after other people, your family, maybe others, maybe try and be kind and help other people live a better life, a more productive life.
Yes.
Try and leave a positive legacy. So it's really important. Someone said to me 5 years ago, I'd never heard it before, but a friend said to me, there was a little campsite, and we were there, and we were going away, and he went back and tidied it. He just ran back and tidied it up. And he said that his uncle had always taught him to leave things in better shape than when you arrived.
Yeah.
And I'd never heard that. And I really try and do that now. Excuse me. So when I go and stay at someone's house, I like strip the beds and I do all this stuff that I would never have done, because I just like to leave things in good shape.
Yes.
If I'm somewhere, I'll try and leave it tidy. If I borrow a car, I'll try and get it a bit clean, make sure it's filled with petrol.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a great way to live, isn't it? To leave things in slightly better shape. Don't go crazy.
Yes. No, I think it's tied to the Scouts' purpose or mission. Yeah.
Is it?
And it's kind of embedded in some of our values as well as a business. Leave it better than you found it. Just simple as that.
Yeah.
Because again, the environment as a goal, and then people think, oh, you've got to save the whole planet. But no, if you're in a meeting room, try and leave it a bit better than you found it. Just tidy your cups away.
Totally.
Just the basics.
Totally. And I think maybe I was really selfish, but it only just twigged on me then, actually. Talking about Scouts, another thing that happened is a friend of mine who was a venture scout that you do till like 18 and stuff.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know too much about
stuff.
it.
Anyway, he'd done that. I always remember that about him. I didn't know him then. And an amazing character. At his funeral the other week, his best friend said the great thing about Steve, that he was always up for it, and he didn't care what it was, and he would do anything.
Yeah.
Good and bad. He was up for it. He craved that, and actually fittingly he died. Fittingly, it's a horrible thing to say, but he died in an avalanche about 5 weeks ago. He was an adventurer. He was an adventurous sort. He was an astonishing man, and his death absolutely has impacted me. He was a guy I hadn't seen for 2 years, and before that I hadn't seen him for 6. But he was one of those people that you could rely on. So I knew that I could call him on a Sunday night or a Monday morning at 3 a.m. And I said, I'm in trouble. I need you to do me this big favor. And he wouldn't say, oh, haven't you asked so-and-so? Or, oh, my wife's got a cold. He was one of these people that would say, I'm there. And that could have been anything. It could have been some money. It could have been driving to Aberdeen. He was one of these people that was there. And in your life, you're lucky if you've got 4 or 5. And so when he died out of the blue, that created lots of really unusual thoughts in my head. And it made me think, and he was 52, lived life to the full, but he's left behind twin boys and a wife. And that's talked about earlier about the frailty of life, how fragile life is. And goodness, it really is. And
I know. Yeah, we think we're in control, don't we? And we're not at all.
No. You're in control of a little bit. and everything else can happen.
It's mostly reactions and responses.
Totally.
Yeah. How important is resilience in life?
I think resilience is everything. And I think what I mean by that is being able to take setbacks. Mm-hmm. And setbacks can be a little bit where you get a parking ticket.
Yes.
Some people freak out. And sometimes little things get on top of you and you do freak out over little stuff, don't you? Mm-hmm. I remember being at a train station in Switzerland with my eldest lad, and we were going skiing. We'd got this train and we had to change trains and get a new ticket. And the ticket machine wasn't working and I was worried we were going to miss the train. There was another one in 20 minutes. And I must have been like, things must have got on top of me because I started freaking out. And he was like, Dad, you're freaking out. Yeah. And anyway, sorry, my point was that I was totally unresilient. I think resilience is everything. Ideally, you want to be resilient for the major shocks. Mm. When I see people that are totally resilient, though, I guess I do see that major things like a bereavement just seem to impact them, but not enough. You kind of think, wouldn't it be healthier to be a bit more upset? Or wouldn't it be, so resilience is great.
Yeah.
So yes, resilience is everything. Because you're going to have setbacks.
Yes.
You're going to have minor setbacks. You're going to have 10 a day. And you're going to have monstrous setbacks that happen every 5 years.
Yes.
And you have to be able to, if appropriate, stick to your course, or if appropriate, change course a bit. Mm-hmm. And that comes from trying to keep a level head. Mm-hmm. And it's everything. If you're not able to do that, when the setbacks come, you go to pieces and you will never achieve anything.
Absolutely. Yeah, you need to recharge, don't you? Otherwise, every little knockback knocks you down. You need to recharge, rest, and also absorb grief. Don't let it just bounce off you. We're human, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Do you know you recharge, like if you can, not Charlotte Nichols, but is it Nicol or Nichols?
Nichols, you said it right.
Nichols.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There is a Charlotte Nicol that I know.
There is.
Yes.
Beside uni, yeah.
So basically, if you meditate, even for 5-6 minutes every day, try and do it every day, and or pray 2 minutes every day, your resilience goes through the roof. Your ability to see the bigger picture and cope with the little things. And I can always tell when I've got out of my habit of doing those things for say 4 or 5 days, I just start to freak out at little stuff.
Oh, it's so true.
I just become unable to deal with things.
It's so true. I need to get back in the habit of it. It's a good reminder, but I'm a lot more calmer. I've got a lot more calmer state of mind when I'm doing that. Yeah. It's just interesting in the language you use there, because meditate is seen as like something to do these days. It's endorsed on social media everywhere, but then praying, and they're very similar. If not the same thing.
I think it's the same thing. Yeah. I mean, praying is usually like to a specific God or cause, whereas meditation is, the short answer is they're very related. And they can amount to the same thing.
Maybe one's a conversation with yourself, the other a conversation with who you deem God.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
there's the crossover. There's an area of common ground.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to go to your early career in finance now. Right. You said you chose to get involved in it because of the money and the excitement. Yeah. What was a typical day like?
So you know what? I was like mentally ambitious. I was like, when I think back now, I don't know if I'm blushing now, but I'm kind of, I find it funny what I used to do, and I find it embarrassing. Okay. And I feel a little bit ashamed because I was so embarrassed that it was crazy. And I was like, when I got the chance and I got the job, I was the first in the office, like stupidly early. How early? Well, I needed to be there at 8, but I'd get there at 6 because some of the traders who did Japanese stuff being at 6:30, so I'd get in before them. Right. I would, as soon as they got in, like, who wants a cup of tea? I'd be making them tea. Mm-hmm. I'd be tidying stuff away. I'd go and get their lunch. I mean, some people in those days, especially in those days, being a graduate trainee you felt like, I'm a graduate trainee, because there weren't that many graduates. Mm-hmm. It felt quite a high status thing. Okay. But I was like this, just determined to impress and do well. So I was, I put everything in, and I think my resilience was very low. And I just sparked a thought in my head, and I remember they got me to trade very quickly. I think they liked me because I did everything for them. Yeah. I just showed them that you're the boss and I will do anything you want. Yeah. Literally almost. Okay. I'll do anything because I just want to, I want to be in a situation where I'm earning loads of money and doing all this stuff. And I was doing everything, and I was promoted super quick. I used to go and ask for pay rises all the time as well. I was so pushy. It was crazy. But they gave me them.
Yeah. They probably even just admired your audacity to ask.
Yeah. But anyway, my resilience was low from all the like late nights and early mornings, and just the stress. And then when I started trading, I just made a mistake, and it went wrong. And my boss shouted at me, and I was really upset.
Publicly.
I mean, so I didn't cry. I was humiliated.
Okay.
I was disappointed, but most of all, I thought that everything I was working for might go out the window. That perhaps I wasn't the superstar. Perhaps I wasn't on this path to the riches that I wanted.
Okay.
And I'm not someone who cries a lot, but when I was going home on the train, on the tube, I started crying. Not blubbing, but just like internally crying. But it must have been obvious because this woman came across the seats opposite and said, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." Are you sure?
Bless you.
But he didn't shout and scream at me, and I wasn't upset because I was shouted at. I'm totally used to that. But it was that my dreams maybe weren't as within reach as I hoped. And it was so upsetting.
And you'd probably done a lot of good things that day, but it's the bad, negative thing that's probably stuck with you.
Yeah. That's right.
So how long were your days typically?
So the days were long. My days were longer than everyone else's. And if I went out on the night, as you would sometimes as a young lad, and you'd be out and out quite late or whatever.
Yeah.
And then getting up at 5. I think there was a tube at like 5:30. That maybe it was the first one back then. I'd get the tube and get the office for 6.
Yeah.
I remember, I don't know if I should tell you the story, but I'm going to, because it's funny now, is that I went on this big night out. I don't know what time I got back. I don't know, let's say it was 2:30 or something. So I went to bed and had a couple of really bad hours sleep. And I got up and I used to drink, I don't like water. I don't like drinking water, but I knew I needed to hydrate. So I had Ribena.
Okay.
So I used to pour Ribena in this big pint glass and glug it.
Right.
Anyway, but I was obviously still very hungover. So I inadvertently filled the pint glass with Ribena, and then late for my train, just glugged the whole thing down in one. Neat Ribena, sticky and... Yeah. Anyway, and I got on the tube. And after about 10 minutes, I started to feel a bit sick. And I threw up everywhere. And there weren't many people on the tube. But those who were horrified because they assumed it was blood.
Right, okay.
And people were crowding around me and making a fuss, and they were half disgusted and half thinking, wow, do we drag him, wrestle him out of here and get him up to an ambulance?
Yes.
And I was like, oh no, it's just Ribena. Lots of crazy things happened. And as I got more senior, I worked really hard. I was promoted really quickly. I did really well, and it was fantastic. And the atmosphere was incredible. It was outrageous and exciting, and it was a totally different era. And whenever you get groups, right? So it was men. So in those days, whenever you get these bunch of young men together and they're in a high pressure environment, you get camaraderie, bravado, elements of bad behavior. I think when you get all young women together, you get a bit of the same, perhaps not to the same extent, but you do. The women behave their very worst when they are young and together.
Yes, I'd agree.
And I think the presence
mentality.
The presence of men amongst the women and women amongst men usually tempers things a bit, doesn't it? But anyway, this was all, it was typically all male. So the extremes were quite, and outrageous things used to go on. Many I couldn't tell you about.
I've read City Boy a long time ago. It's probably a mild version.
Outrageous things. There were things like eating insects. The one guy would eat these insects for a bet. But everyone was like, I found some cockroaches in the office in New York. And he ate them, but everyone had to chip in to get it to a level where he was willing to eat them, because he wouldn't eat them for $20, right? But he might eat them for 1,000 or 2,000.
Maybe.
And I can't remember eating competitions. They were the things they were the ones I can tell you about.
Yes, brilliant. So very different. I think the days are today in the finance world. Yeah,
totally.
My brother's in investment banking. Yeah, and yes, it doesn't sound as crazy.
It's totally different. It's totally different. Much more professional. Yeah.
If you were advising your younger self back then, what would you say?
I'm tempted to say don't take things as seriously, but if I instilled that in my like 21-year-old self, I think I wouldn't have done what I did. Maybe I would have done better things, but I don't know. So I'd be scared to change that too much, Charlotte. I think I would just say work really hard, look after your friends, have loads of fun, but be super ambitious.
And don't drink a pint of Ribena before going on the tube.
Don't drink a pint of Ribena after 2 hours sleep.
Brilliant. And the last topic I wanted to cover was your charity work.
Right.
You do so much, but what, I think you have quite strong opinions on the word charity and what it means to people. Can you share those?
Yeah, I don't know if I do so much. In fact, I don't do so much. I think what I did was I set up 2 organizations.
Okay.
Like pretty much completely on my own, and got the business model established and got the support, and that was incredibly hard. That was a monstrous effort of my own energy and time. And
why did you do it? You didn't have to.
I didn't have to do it. I did it because I wanted to do some good, and it wasn't selfish. It wasn't like, if I do this, then that happens to me. But it must have made me feel good. So arguably it is selfish, right? So it must have felt good.
Yeah.
So you could argue it was selfish, but I got nothing out of it. It's not like I did that and I don't know, I got an award or I got some money, or it's not like that.
Yeah.
That was never going to happen. What was the question?
Oh, you kind of, when we were having a pre-podcast chat, alluded to the definition of charity.
Yeah. So charity is kindness, right? That's what the word means. But what we have is we have a legal definition of some organizations that are called charities, right? And they have a certain status with the law and with the Inland Revenue, or HMRC it's called now, and they are charities. The great thing about charities is they are an organized body that people can get behind. So that's brilliant. And they have to be run in a certain way. They have to be run, there are legal demands that they run efficiently and effectively. Yes. Otherwise they can get into trouble. The truth is that many charities are not good, right?
Okay.
I'm trying to choose my words carefully, but many charities are not good. Many charities are set up as a knee-jerk reaction. When someone dies, people want to do something. You're bereaved and you're sad and you want to help others and you want to commemorate the life of your loved ones. And many people sometimes set up a charity for all the right reasons, but they haven't really thought it through. It's an emotional reaction. And I'm not saying in that case, but charities are often set up in a way that means they're not sustainable. They were a fleeting thought. They get initial support. But I have to tell you something that I'll share with you, that every single penny that goes to charity could have gone to another charity. And remember, there are some great ones and some awful ones. Every single penny that goes to charity could have supported a local business. And remember, there are local businesses that really struggle, that employ people, that keep the community cohesive.
Yes.
Every single penny that goes to charity could have helped you and your loved ones. So people need to think really hard. I personally think people should do more charitable work. They should be more kind, and they should sacrifice a bit more of their own money. But the knee-jerk reaction of giving money to charities and the way that companies do it, where they pick the most trendy or acceptable cause, that irks me. And it irks me when celebrities back a charity, because celebrities are usually putting their weight behind something that either gives them more status and profile or is a pet project for them. And that's fine, but that doesn't mean it's a good one. But every penny that charity then gets is likely not going to another. So for example, what's less popular but are brilliant? The hospices. The hospices touch people's lives. Yeah. The work they do is incredible. They do not get anywhere near enough money from the government and other bodies, and they have to fundraise. Money going to hospices does incredible good. There are lots of, I'm not going to name any because that would be unfair, but I've researched this a lot, and I don't say things lightly, but there are lots of charities that do a lot of harm. For example, and it's often counterintuitive, there's a charity in London, an organisation called the Centre for Homelessness Intelligence.
Okay.
And I guess they're probably kind of not likely to get huge donations because they employ people to work out where is the most benefit. They're not actually handing a piece of bread to someone who's starving,
Okay, yeah.
or picking a kid up off the floor. And people like to do that. People like to feel their money is handing food to someone, understandably.
Yeah.
But it's really important to scrutinize and monitor charities. So the Centre for Homelessness Intelligence Centre for Homelessness Impact, they've explained to me about, for example, there was a big study in the States and they had this idea, and I can't remember what it was called. What they would do is with minor offenders that were on this path to potentially worse crime, a worse life, worse outcomes for them and society and the economy, is that to introduce them at an early stage to these long-term offenders that were in prison for 20 years, life, learn their lessons. All of the studies that looked at that found that the young men that went and engaged with the hardened long-term lifers were much more likely to be back in prison and end up in a life of crime rather than just sporadic incidents. Now, it's counterintuitive, but that's what the data shows. And that's what we're doing in life. We've got to follow the data. Data. People can use data to mislead you, but that isn't misleading. There are other cases of things like there was a charity in Australia, I think it was Australia, and they had a bus. And they would go out to places where people were sleeping rough and in a bad way. And they would feed them, they would let them have a shower, and they would give them clothes. I mean, who would argue with that?
Yeah.
Who would argue with that? The studies showed that actually reduced outcomes. And I could probably guess lots of reasons why, actually, now I think about it. But the public would get behind that. So these charities that, the two examples that I've shown that cost money, that diverted money away from hospices and other things, diverted money away from local businesses, diverted money away from your friends and family, did more harm than good. So we need to get much better at working out who the good charities are, who the bad charities are. And we need to stop people with the knee-jerk reaction saying, I'm giving money to charity, isn't that great? And I'll say one last thing, apologies for interrupting.
No, it's fine.
Is that charities have to be run well. And that means you need managers. The public has an understandable hatred of paying a well-paid manager. If you do not have a well-paid manager in your charity, in your hospital, in your private business, in your school, it runs less well.
Yes.
And so many millions get wasted. Managers are slated. Everyone says, oh, sack the managers. It is never as easy as that. Getting rid of layers of management often, even usually, does more harm than good. And if you look at the most efficient, ruthless organizations on the planet, let's think of, say, McDonald's restaurants, they have like 6 tiers of management all the way through, different layers of responsibility, supervision, management, oversight. They know that if you take those away, it slowly goes to pot and money is wasted, jobs are lost. Management is so important. There's a business lesson.
Yeah, absolutely. Really interesting points on all of that, Andy. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so we're on to our regular feature, which is what we end with when we end each podcast with a series of 10 questions where you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Right. It's quite quick fire.
Okay.
How good looking are you?
6.5.
Okay. How funny are you?
Sometimes I'm 2 and sometimes I'm 8.3.
Okay, 0.3. Wow, specific. Cooking.
4. 3. I'm 3. I'm terrible. No, I'm rubbish. 1.
1. Okay, right.
No, I'm rubbish.
Singing.
2.
Drinking alcohol.
So do you mean can I tolerate alcohol? I'm just like normal. I don't know. 5? Okay. Is that normal? I don't know.
I think so.
You're like a 9, right? You drink like a fish.
No, maybe I used
I've heard
to.
That rumor.
Really?
Yeah. No, I haven't. I'm just.
I haven't had a drop so far this year. But
oh, really?
Yeah, no, I have terrible tolerance.
Oh,
but,
right.
I would have a very good go back in the day. Parenting skills.
Oh my word. Well, you should ask the people I parented, I guess. I reckon I'm like a 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a tough category.
It is.
How good a friend are you?
6.5.
Okay. Intelligence levels?
I'm tempted to say like, okay, so on some things, I'm just awful at. I'm really slow at learning some things, and people all my life, some people have asked me whether I'm dyslexic or whether I'm this, because when people explain things, I can't pick it up. I have to kind of learn on my own, or I can watch.
Oh, I'm quite similar to that.
Yeah. So in some ways I'm like a 2.
Yeah.
But in other ways I think I'm like a 8.5.
Yeah, it's so multifaceted.
Somewhere between the 2.
Yeah, there's so many dimensions. Okay, kindness.
7.
Okay, and the final question, Andy, how good at sex are you?
I will not answer that.
Thank you very much, Andy.